Hi, I'm Ricky Frank. I've been an enamelist for 37 years. I make enamel jewelry and I'm also a teacher. In this project, I'm going to take a copper disc, do a simple fold forming technique to create a line through the middle, use a hammer to create a little texture on the side, and then fire some transparent clear enamel so that I can see that texture and see the copper coming up underneath the enamel. To start with, I'm going to anneal the copper, and that's going to soften it so that I can fold it up. So I'll start by lighting my flame, and it doesn't matter if I heat it from above or below. I'm going to heat it so that it turns slightly green. Quench it to cool it. And now I'm going to take my hand and just fold it. Doesn't matter if I fold it in half. Wherever I fold is where the line's going to be created. I'm going to take a rawhide mallet and gently tap it. So they got the bend nice and tight. Now it's too hard to open it because I've just work hardened this metal by hammering it. So I'm going to anneal it again. And that's going to soften the metal so that I can open that fold up. Quench it to cool it. And since this is pretty thin, I can probably just get my fingers. You could use a different type of tool to open it up. There I go, opening it. And I've got a nice line in here and a raised area. So I'm going to tap this down slightly. And now I'm going to use a hammer that's got a texture so that I can put very easily and quickly a nice texture on the metal. Do the other side. And there's a piece of metal. What's nice about having the texture on the copper is when I put transparent, I'm going to have little ripples of light bouncing up through the enamel, which makes the piece look really fascinating. So I've got that started and ready to go. Now the next step is to do my enameling. Now we're going to be using clear enamel for this project. Move the torch out of the way. And what I'm using is some unleaded enamel. Its number is 2030 and it's medium fusing clear. Enameling world uses clear as flux, which is different than flux for solder. It just means colorless enamel. So what I'm going to do is sift the layer on here. But the first thing I need to do is I need to get little grains of enamel out of here, because when you fire transparent enamel, the fine grains creates lots of air bubbles in your piece and it looks like cloudy enamel. So to get the fines out, I'm going to use a fine screen, sift out the fine particles, and then I can use the bigger grains. So to start with, I'm going to put a dust mask on. Put a little bit of enamel in there, and I can be sifting out the fine particles. And that's going to give me the coarsest grains, which is going to give me the most transparent enamel. I'll pour this into my sifter. Now it's looking a little bit more like sugar instead of flour. I'm going to sift a layer on top of this. I'm going to leave this edge bare, and when that heats, it's going to turn black, so I'll have clear enamel on the sides and black enamel or black copper through the middle. I'll place this on the trivet. And I'm going to heat this from below. The gas from the flame will discolor the enamel, so I want to heat the piece from below when I'm doing a torch-fired enamel. I'm going to adjust the flame for a nice big bushy flame. And what I'm going to do as I heat this, the enamel is going to start to melt, but what's going to happen is the copper is going to oxidize, which means it's going to turn black. So clear enamel over black is not going to be very interesting. So when we fire a transparent enamel over copper, we do something called clearing the copper. And what is going to happen is, as it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, the oxides, the black on the copper, is going to dissolve into the enamel and completely disappear. So when I'm firing transparent on copper, I want to do it hot enough and long enough until the copper is glowing and looks like it's reflecting the light and doesn't look black. So here we go. We're going to see the enamel turn dark. That's the first stage. And then as the enamel starts to melt, these grains are going to start to ball up, because that's what glass wants to do, and it's going to resemble a sugar cookie. You can see the black on the copper and a little bit of crystal in the enamel. Now as the enamel's getting more molten, it looks glossy, but it's not shiny really. But as we heat it, we're going to get that beautiful glow of the copper shining through. I usually wait about 10 seconds before I touch anything because I don't want to get my tweezers into the liquid enamel. And we've got that beautiful color there. And we can see our fired enamel with the textures underneath and the copper shining through. So thanks for watching. We've just made a fold-formed textured copper disc with flux fired over it. I'm Ricky Frank. If you have any questions, go to riogrande.com or call Rio and they'll be glad to help you. Thanks so much for watching.